Welcome to Fierce 2024, the way of the brave. We celebrate what God is doing in your life and your testimony of victory. Welcome, Minister Mel. Can you share your testimony of God's faithfulness in your life?
Thank you, Pastor Cheryl, and thank you to Siloam Ministries and the pastoral group for giving me this opportunity to share my testimony. In 2017, I fell pregnant with a beautiful baby boy at the time, and not knowing what to expect, went for my first gynae checkup. And at the time of my first gynae checkup, the doctors checked me and she said, the results is not looking good. I had high blood pressure. So she said to me, please keep your pressure under control. You just need to monitor it and let me know, because this will impact you on your first trimester of your pregnancy. So still not knowing, but all excited that we've got a new baby coming, planning and everything. Went through the process of going for my second visit to the gynae, and she said to me, your blood pressure is not good at all. Monitored it for a week. She kept telling me, you need to monitor your blood pressure, keep it under control. Gone into my fourth month of my pregnancy, went to the gynae again, and she repeated the same thing. And then she said to me, it's going to impact the growth of the baby, the development of the baby, because there's not enough oxygen, not enough blood circulation going to the baby, because my body is taking more. So not knowing what to expect, but in that time that I went through this, I always prayed, continued praying, trusting God, because prior to that, God has done many miracles in my life. I prayed and I believe that God is going to bring a miracle through. In my 5th month of my pregnancy, I went into hospital, and I was very sick at that time. And she said to me, no, we now have to terminate the pregnancy and we have to take out the baby. And I said to her, no. I refused. She even prepped the room. And I remember that day Keegan phoned Pastor Adrian to come. And he was sitting there with his head down and trying to comfort us at that time. And I said to the doctor, I serve a great God. I'm not giving up here. So I said to her, you're not going to take my baby off me. I'm going to continue to this pregnancy as far as I can, because I know God is going to perform a miracle. But in that time, I was so strong. All I did was pray and worship. I was in church every Tuesday in the prayer meeting praying, and I said, God, you know the plans that you have for me. So it got into a stage after that where every 2 weeks I was admitted in hospital for my blood pressure. But at the time, not educating myself and not knowing, she'd started me too late on the medication to control my blood pressure. So I was at a stage where I was in ICU, where my blood pressure went extremely high, and they had to control it. Seeing the people in ICU made me think, you know what, I still have more to live for, and I still can continue with this baby. Because I was the only mobile person in ICU at that time. I continued praying, and I said, God, you know the plans that you have for me. So eventually I decided to do some research, and Keegan as well, and we decided to go for a second opinion. But it was already far down the line. We couldn't get appointments, we couldn't get gynaes. I was 8 months into my pregnancy when I decided to go for a second opinion. And in that time of my pregnancy, I had many dreams, demonic dreams, and many attacks faced me where I dreamt about snakes. And at one stage, I had to believe whether it was my life or my baby's life. But I still continued, and I believed that God is going to bring a miracle through. I still prayed, I still kept my faith, and I went on. So as I went for my second opinion on that day to a different gynae, I gave him the whole history, speaking to him, telling him what was going on. Then he said to me, okay, lay on the bed. I need to check the baby and I need to check you. Not even 2 minutes later, he puts all his equipment off and he requested his nurse to come. And Keegan and I are looking at each other and we're wondering what is going on here now. Why is the doctor is not saying anything and he's requesting his nurse to come. He called the nurse and the nurse comes there and she stands with this big needle to sedate me. And I'm looking shocked and he said to me, I don't have good news. The baby has passed on inside of you 2 days already. It was the hardest moment of my life. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. All I could see was Keegan break down in tears and cry, but I was strong. I had tears, but I couldn't cry. I think after the nurse sedated me, it was. Everything from there was so numb for me that I couldn't even feel emotion at that time. But I didn't realize through my journey in that 8 months, God was preparing me for this day to make me be strong. Keegan wasn't the strong one, so I had to be there for him. I lay there in the bed and he phoned Pastor Adrian and he phoned the church and he informed them. I remember that night I had all the support, all the pastors there praying over me. And the doctor, the gynae said to me, you're going to have to stay 1 more day with this baby in your tummy. We cannot do anything. The theater rooms are booked and we just have to medicate you and keep you stable. And at that time, everything in my body was infected. I was at a stage where we both could have passed on. But I continued and I said, God, I serve a true living God. You've performed miracles for me before, and I leaned on that miracle that he performed. And I said to him, you know why you took my baby away, because you wouldn't have given me something that couldn't have handled. And you know the reason. So the next day, he prepared me for theater. I think I was in theater for almost 3 hours, and they wouldn't allow Keegan in. I was in so much of pain, so much of injections, that every time a needle went into me, I screamed from the time the needle went in till the time it came out. But all I had to focus was taking this baby out and being strong and know the plans that God has for me. I went through the theater process, came out of theater. It took me an hour to recover. They were concerned because I wasn't coming back to recovery. As I was coming up into the room, Pastor Adrian was there, praying with me and encouraging me. I was so drowsy. It was so much of emotion, and he just said to me, hang on to faith and carry on. He prayed and he left. The next day I had Mamila and Minister Romain there, encouraging me and Keegan to carry on. And I never felt any emotion then. I never wept much. I never cried. I didn't want to see the baby at that time. So the lady that was counseling us said, it's okay if you don't want to see the baby or meet with the baby or carry the baby. So Keegan went and he seen the baby because he wanted to find comfort. He even took a picture for me of the baby. And he said, when you're ready, you can see it. So 2 days before I lost the baby, I had a dream of a python that had 2 heads. And I'm standing there, and if I went forward, this python would have swallowed me. If I went back, the python would have swallowed me. I didn't know what to do, not realizing in that time my child was dying inside of me. And all I know is I just stepped and this python's head, it grabbed onto each other, and that was it. And I said to God, there was many attacks coming against me having this baby, but I will continue and not give up. So after everything was over, we came home. I went for a month where I would cry every single night. That was my time where I wept. But I would get up in the middle of the night and I would go through worship, and that's what kept me going. through my healing process in losing this baby. But I didn't ask God why once, because I felt He prepared me. I didn't have questions for Him. I didn't know why I didn't have questions for Him, but He prepared me for the time that to come when I was going to lose this baby. After the 1 month of weeping, I could feel that God saying to me, I've got plans for you and better plans. And I went back to the gynae to find out if I could have kids. And the gynae said to me, no, you're not going to be able to have kids. So for 2 years, we tried to conceive. I tried to have a baby and he didn't. But I still believed in God. And God came through. And I've got 2 beautiful kids today, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I thank Him for that. In the midst of difficulty, He prepared me for the blessing that was going to come. And the baby that passed on, I know is an angel in heaven. So that is my testimony that I want to share. Thank you.
Minister Mel, thank you. That is such a powerful and brave testimony. Can you please share with us what lessons you have learned while facing your challenges?
The lesson that I've learned is always go into things, even if it's unknown. Even if you went into it, unknown, go and do your research. Often people out there, we get married, we plan to have a baby, but we don't go and check ourselves. We don't prep ourselves. We don't see what our do's and don'ts, what other obstacles can come our way. So I've learned something, even when I went into my 2 pregnancies. I went and checked myself thorough, knew what I can do and what I cannot do. And don't let bad news turn you down. Continue and do your research, and there's always a way. There's always a way. That's what I believe.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Minister Mel. Lastly, what encouragement or message would you like to offer to those who may be seeking or struggling in their faith journey?
One of the things is worship. There's times we get angry with God, we get upset, we question God. Or there's times we cannot say anything to God, we just still. Put your music on and let it play, because worship connects us to God. And there's a scripture that I think it's Jeremiah 9:29 or 29:9, it says, for I know the plans I have for you. 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you. So God always have a plan, and He will not put you through something that you cannot handle. So hold on to your faith, because there's greater things to come. And always serve and give, no matter how good or bad challenges that you're facing, or no matter how bad life is going. Give back to the kingdom, whether it's in your hand in service, in your hand in serving other people. God will bring you through your breakthrough. But sometimes He's got to prepare us for our breakthrough. We got to go through the storms to appreciate the blessings that we get afterwards.
Thank you, Minister Mel, for being brave and sharing your testimony with the world. May God increase and enlarge your territory.
Thank you.